Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor here, and we are back with the rumour mill. Hope you've had a great weekend. The sunshine in sunny Yorkshire has been absolutely fabulous. It's been fantastic. There's been a heat wave. Hopefully, it continues now throughout the next couple of weeks, so we can actually have those rays absolutely battering our skin, because it's been miserable, hasn't it? It really has. But guys, if you haven't liked the video already, what are you doing? If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing even more? And make sure you comment. Let me know what you think about these rumours. Any other rumours you've heard, get it in the comment section below. We want this to be the proper rumour mill. You letting me know, me letting you know. And let's go through all the rumours surrounding our great club today. So listen, apparently Leeds United are locked in talks, not with Christopher Clarkson. That apparently is going on in the background. There's a continuation with that conversation between Victor Orta and Vålerenga. But no, Leeds are locked in chats, excuse me, with Algerian star FARID Boulaya. Now, listen guys, this was one completely off the grid, like it normally is for Leeds United, but it's opportunistic, and I'm going to get into it, so stick with me. Let's make sure you watch the full video. We've got loads of stuff coming up. But FARID Boulaya, now this is a brand new name for me. I've not heard anything on this name, but with Leeds United, it is one of those sporadic things, isn't it? We know with Victor Orta's database that it's like a football manager database, probably more in depth than a football manager database. There's people throughout the world who Victor Orta has on this little spreadsheet, this long spreadsheet probably. There's a little one for a short list, a big one for a long list, and it looks like this guy has been scouted and touted by the White's recruitment boss. He plays for Metz, and Metz haven't had a great season. They staved off relegation by 7 points, but this guy has completely flourished in a very poor Metz side, and that's the staple of this conversation with FARID Boulaya. It is the fact that he has kept them in the division, according to a lot of journalists, according to a lot of sources, after doing a little bit of research. He's been their main man. He's been the main man to keep them in Liga. Now, allegedly, Leeds have open talks, according to French journalist Mohamed Tabash. Now, Tabash is followed by an absolute legion of very reputable journalists, and I can tell you that for one, after doing a little bit of research, including the notorious Fabrizio Romano. He works for Compal Media, which is a political and sports-based newspaper in France, and this guy is seen as a very reputable source. And Get French Football News, who I've done work with before on the Leeds Fan Channel, they're very good with their sources, have quote tweeted what Mohamed said and have essentially validated it and spoken of Leeds' interest in this player. Now, Leeds have always had an issue replacing Pablo Hernandez. Saiz was supposed to be that mould. With Samuel Saiz, he was going to be that man who was going to replace Pablo Hernandez. That never happened. That never came to fruition. Why? Because Samuel Saiz didn't have the Marcelo Bielsa attitude, and that was the problem. The technical skill, he was absolutely superb, as we all knew, but he didn't have that attitude, which is beyond the technical ability in Marcelo Bielsa and Leeds fans' eyes. So what do we look at then? What compartments do we look at? Well, we look at who can replace Pablo Hernandez in that attacking midfield role. Who has his skill set? Who is able to dictate and create and able to be that technician in Pablo Hernandez's position? Well, do we have that now? We notoriously understand that Marcelo Bielsa likes two players for each position. We've got Tyler Roberts and we've got Rodrigo in that attacking midfield mould. But is that enough? You know, Rodrigo for me is not a central midfielder. Even with Stuart Dallas next to him, I still fully don't believe we're going to see that midfielder who's going to do all of that diligent duty that a Marcelo Bielsa attacking midfielder needs to have, which we saw Pablo Hernandez do for nigh on 3 years. I still don't think he has that tendency. I still see Rodrigo as a centre forward. I think we saw that towards the back end of the year. Luis Enrique still sees him as a forward for Spain. So I don't think that Marcelo Bielsa is going to rely on him to be the replacement for Pablo Hernandez. Roberts got a little bit better. The stats don't lie though. His off-the-ball work is great, and we saw that with Roberts throughout the last season, but one goal, it's not sufficient enough. It's not going to be able to help us in the attacking midfield capacity. Now, when you look at someone like FARID Boulaya, he has played 32 games, 9 assists and 6 goals. Now, this is very, very commendable in that Metz side. Very, very commendable. And that replacement for Pablo Hernandez is going to come to the fore, really, later on in the video when I explain to you exactly why I think this would be a great signing. It also enables Leeds United to potentially be able to vary up the formation. It enables us to vary up exactly what we're doing in terms of the 4-1-4-1. You know, are we going to be able to adapt into a different formation with another attacking midfielder come in? Or is Marcelo Bielsa and Victor Orta essentially looking at another attacking midfielder because they don't feel that maybe Click can fill that 8 mould consistently and produce those consistent performances? And Rodrigo and Roberts, are they going to produce the numbers in that role to consistently get Leeds to that next level which we want to be? Now, the interesting thing with Boulaya is he wants European football. We can't offer him that. Rafinha wanted European football. We weren't able to offer him that. Llorente wanted European football. We weren't able to offer him that. Allegedly, Junior Firpo wanted European football. We weren't able to offer them that. But there is a system at Ellen Road which, if you buy into it, the long-term vision is to be in that position. It's to be playing in Europe. And I think Victor Orta does an unbelievable job in selling that dream. So that's why I think this could be a really achievable target. But he's wanted to leave Metz now. He's spoken out and he wants to leave for European football. He's got ambitions of European football. The stickling point, 28 years of age. Now, I've seen a lot of fans talking about this as if it is a big discussion point. I have counter arguments, really. A 28-year-old, you know, you look at someone like Rodrigo now, he's I think he's 30 years old, and you do think to yourself, how much better is he going to get? How tall is that glass ceiling? But on the contrary, when you've got a 28-year-old who is in his prime, who can come into this squad right now, we can get 3 or 4 brilliant years out of him at the top level. You know, you look at Pablo Hernandez, we had him till he was 34 producing magic. If we can get someone like Boulaya in, and we're able to get those top years out of him in his prime, that's only going to be advantageous for Leeds United. Apparently there's 2 Spanish clubs and an Italian club also interested in Boulaya. You know, I doubt it's going to be your Barcelona's, your Real Madrid's, your Juventus, but it could be an AC Milan. It could be a club of that calibre. You know, it could be a Valencia. When you look, when Junior Firpo's been in the contingency plan for someone like AC Milan, Leeds have been able to acquire his services when, you know, Victor Orta's gone up against AC Milan's recruitment director. So I don't fear that. You know, you're obviously going to fear if it's a top club, but this really could be a deal that could get done for Leeds United. As I've said, the source is very good. The source is very good, and it's been verified by Get French Football News. And one impressive thing, after doing a little bit of research on Boulaya, was the fact that in January, a lot of you might think this is completely insignificant, but in January, he actually got the Player of the Month in Ligue 1. Now, as part of a struggling Mets side, part of a side who are not able to get to that next level, who are literally staving off relegation, it screams of Emi Buendia with Norwich. That's what he screams of in terms of his performances are a level up, but Norwich aren't able to get to that next level, you know, and it screams of that with Boulaya. He's not able to get to that next level with his team, but his goal contributions on the pitch have kept them up, you know, so he's been part of that Europe sort of top league for a while now, and it screams of an opportunistic signing from Leeds United. Mets boss Frederic Antonelli also said that he's a decisive player who helps us with creativity. His technique is very, very good. Now, when you're looking at this in terms of value, it makes sense. Leeds United, 3.9 million, whatever it is, 4.5 million, it's nothing really. The wages might be a little bit higher, but you can sort of, that's going to even itself out. It's a seesaw when it comes to the transfer fee and the wages. They're going to equal themselves out, so I don't think we'll have a problem there. I think it makes more sense if we're going to go for an attacking midfielder on the cheap a little bit, especially if we're going to get value for money. You know, if this guy's been producing, which he has been doing, why not go and do it? So fantastic news. Apparently Leeds are in talks with him and his people. Now, Yangel Herrera, a lot of us have been speaking about him. He's not made that much of a feature on the Rumour Mill, to be honest. The Man City player who was on loan at Granada had some brilliant numbers there. And what I wanted to talk about with Yangel Herrera is I think it'd be a really good sign. I've seen Herrera play numerous times, and it would enable Leeds to sort of change formation and vary it up a little bit. You know, the 4-2-3-1 is something that Bielsa has deployed in his career. We've also seen that with Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice in the England competition. Could that be in Bielsa's in the Euro competition? Sorry, could that be in Bielsa's thoughts? You wouldn't think so, because Bielsa's so headstrong. But maybe having a variant of a 4-2-3-1 as opposed to a 4-1-4-1 all the time would be in Bielsa's thinking. Now, bringing someone like Herrera in, who is a combative midfielder, could sit alongside Calvin Phillips, and he's an extremely good defender, averaging 7 throughout his season for Granada on WhoScored.com, which is no mean feat. And as I say, it would enable Leeds to maybe change up the formation. There is actually a 4-1-4-1 variant that Bielsa has deployed this season at Leeds United. You know, with that central midfield spot, it does also mean that the pressure is going to be relieved a little bit on Matthias Klick, but apparently Manchester City are looking to get rid of him for 20 million. Now, it could be 20 million well spent for me, 100%. Klaassen as well, guys, this weekend for Vålerenga was on the bench, which I find quite interesting because amidst the transfer, amidst interest, amidst talks between the two clubs and the agents, that is quite unusual. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on. Klaassen starting this weekend in a friendly for Vålerenga. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. Please get your comments in the section below about Boulaya, about Yangel Herrera and about Klaassen. Let me know if you think of any rumours, any players that you think you would like to see in this Leeds United side when it comes to the start of the season against Manchester United. Like, comment and subscribe, guys, as I always say, and I'll see you in a bit.